Hey everybody, welcome back to Little Boy Customs. Today we're going to check out what the bed looks like, but we're going to move on to kind of a newer project, I guess you could say. A new car that I purchased, sort of, and do some maintenance on it. So I went out and I purchased this 2003 C5 Corvette. And yes, I just want to be like all the other people with a C8, but I can't afford one. So I bought the next best thing, which was this C5. Now, this C5 is a one-owner car. Yes, it is dirty right now, but that's because I have been steadily driving it since I purchased it. And it is the 50th anniversary. It is an automatic, but that's not a real big deal for me. I'm okay with that. It does have all the options. Everything was immaculate in it, including the steering wheel, but the steering wheel had started getting sticky. And so I cleaned it yesterday with some chemicals, and it started showing all this black, which after I got onto the Corvette forums, I realized that, well, that's kind of what happens when you clean it with the chemicals that they recommend to clean it with. So, but it does have all the 50th anniversary insignias on it, and embroidered seats, embroidered floor mats, all that good stuff. This car, when I got it, was 39,000 miles. And like I said, I've been driving it for a little bit. So, see if we can zoom in. Currently, it's got 41,506 miles on it. So I've roughly put about 2,000 miles on it, which is super crazy because the original owner of the car, he only put 2,000 miles on it a year. So the crazy thing about this car is the original owner only drove it about 2,000 miles per year. It is well, fixing to be a 19-year-old car, but it is as clean as they come. So a couple of things that were wrong with this car. So the rearview mirror, it wasn't working properly, and the little dome lights that are down here, they're supposed to kick on whenever the doors open at nighttime, that kind of stuff, so you can help see to get in, and they weren't working either. So got on the Corvette forums and found out that there's two fuse boxes on this car. One of the fuse boxes is right here, and as you can see, the motor is all factory. Nothing's ever been done to the car. Like I said, the guy just owned it, drove it, enjoyed it a little bit, but he tried to keep the miles off of it because it was one of his collector cars in his garage. So one of the fuse boxes was here. I did look at this fuse box, which you unscrew this little deal here, pop it off, and it, just like all fuse boxes, it says what every fuse goes to and all that good stuff. But that is not anywhere in that fuse box is for that rearview mirror. Got on the Corvette forums, found out that there was another fuse box inside on the passenger side, and they kept saying it was in the toe plate. And so I was reading on there, and a lot of people were confused about where that was at. A lot of people thought it was up in here. That's not the case. This piece of carpet right here, pop it out from the top. And your second fuse box is right there. You open it up and flip it over. Like all the other fuse boxes, it tells you exactly what everything does, but if you look real closely, everything's almost in code. So it's kind of hard to tell what does what. But on the Corvette forum, they were saying that if you replaced number 21 fuse, which is a red 10 amp fuse, which happens to be this one right here, that your mirror would start working. And So I looked at it, there was nothing wrong with the fuse, so I didn't change it, but it did not fix my problem, and a lot of other people were complaining about not fixing their problem as well. And so I kept reading, and one of the Z06 forums, which is the more performance model, stated that number 2 fuse, which is this one right up here, they looked at it and it was blown, and therefore that's what was controlling that mirror. And sure enough, that's the fuse that I needed to change in order to get my mirror working, and now it works. So you look at 21. If 21 is still good, look at number 2. And if number 2 isn't your problem, well, good luck, because I don't know what else to tell you. So the other thing that's wrong with this car is that window over there is not working properly. It goes about halfway down and then it stops. Come to find out, that's typically signs that the motor on the inside of the door is bad. And so today, that's what we're going to fix, is that door motor regulator over there for the window to go up and down. So the first thing that you want to do in order to get this door panel off, in order to get into the window regulator, is this little piece down here. You're going to have to pop it out, and you're going to have to get this off. Now the easiest way to do that is with a little pry bar, no mark tool, and we'll pop both these off. This one down here, and then if you get right in this center region right here and you pry down on it, this usually pops right out. So let's give that a try and get it out of there. What the back side of this looks like, you want to try to not break these little tabs off, and they just click in to little points around the edge of it. This here also, the back side of that looks like this right here, and as you can see, that little piece right there broke off, but hopefully it'll go right back in, no problem, and the rest of them will hold it in place. At least that's my hope, because a lot of Corvettes are missing this piece down here, and I don't want mine to be one of them. Now the 2 bolts that you're going to want to knock out or pull out of this is right down here, and both of them are T30s. So I have that. Let's pull that out real quick. And then the other thing that you're going to want to pull off is this door mechanism here that controls all of your electronics, windows, door locks, all that good stuff. You're going to want to pry on this end of it, not this end of it. Up here goes underneath and locks in place. If you pry here and not here, you're going to end up breaking it. So you're going to want to try to pry down here, and still there's a possibility that you still may break this. So be gentle with it. All right, got this out, and I did not break mine, but as you can see on this end, it's a compression fitting. That's what you're trying to pry out. That's why you want to pry on this end of it. And that clip I was telling you about is right there. That's what goes up underneath here, and that's typically what everybody breaks when they go to prying on this end of it. So quick disconnect here. We'll disconnect that, and then, so now that we got these 2 screws out, this off and this off, now you're going to go around the edges of the door, all through here and all along the bottom, and you're going to pry this out and try to pop all the clips out. Once that happens, you should be able to lift up on the door, straight up, and the door should be able to come off. Let's hope so. And I hope I don't break this door. Ooh, I hope I didn't break that. That should be the last one, and it should just raise right off, hopefully. like so. So what you're trying to keep from breaking is these little white clips down here, and they will break pretty easily. Remember, this car was made in 2003, which is not Chevrolet's greatest year as far as plastics that were made inside the cars. You want to remove this plastic membrane that's right here, that way you can access the inside of the door. But before you get too far into that, you want to remove, there's a little piece of black right here if your car's still factory, from right here, and then the other one is going to be right there. And those are 13 millimeter on the inside. You're going to untighten both of those, and that'll remove this window from the channel. From there, we just need to remove this bolt here, this one down here, this one here, and I believe there's one right there that we're going to have to take apart as well. Once you get those all done, we'll remove these 3 bolts right here, and this window channel, motor regulator, everything should be able to come out of the car. Now the window should come back out. Like that. Let's find out what these other saws is. I'm willing to bet it's a 10 millimeter. Yep. And these here are going to be 10 millimeter as well. Now let's see what we got to do to get this out. So at the very top of the door, where the motor's at, is where the power comes in at. We'll see if we can pop that off real easy. So, and it feels like that little clip right there is what's holding us up. Let me go get a pair of pliers real quick. So in case you couldn't see earlier, if you look in from the top, there's going to be a clip, and I'll show you on the motor once I get it out. The other thing you want to do is there's a little plastic clip right here. You're going to pinch that in order to push it back in to get the motor out. So the motor was setting in there like this. This is the clip that's at the top. On this side of it, push it in, and then just pull it out, and it should come right out for you. Now let's go get the new one and compare, and hopefully they're the same. So here's the new one. Let's get it out of the bag and see what we have. All right, so it took me a little while to figure out if this was actually the right one, because I kept looking at it and it was unfolded like this here. And the motor for the connection for the window was at the bottom, and then the other one was at the top, and I was like, man, that's not right. But I started looking at the original one, and that's when I realized, flip that around, these two should be crossing in the middle, and the factory, they actually zip tied it, which I will probably try to get this off, that way I can reuse this part of it and zip tie it back around here. Now, the other thing is this screws in and screws out, so I'm guessing that it's adjustable. So as we get this into the car, we'll adjust this to make it all look right and work right, hopefully. Because this one here also moves. So anyway, they did give us new here, and new rubber. So all this rubber here needs to come off, which that was pretty simple. But we'll get this in, and then we'll worry about cleaning that and get that back in. And these are trash. We'll start off with feeding this side in. I think I'm going to try to get the motor plugged back in and then fix it into location, and then worry about getting this in the right location. There's really not a good angle to work at on this car, and the bad thing is the doors are fiberglass, which means that they break real easy or can chip. Can't see. Need light. You can always use your phone, or not. Oh. Am I the only one that does that? And yes, I just blew all that inside that car. Even more better. I don't guess I should use Ugga Duggas on putting this back together. All right. Here comes the scary part where you got to try to put the glass back in. I never liked that part because I'm afraid I'm going to break it, and I don't want to buy a new one. Okay, so putting the glass back in is a little more complicated. That's why you don't ever see anyone showing you this part of it. So what I did was I put the glass in, and then I pushed this all the way up as far as I could, and on both the front and the back, and then just kind of hand tighten these down because all it's doing is holding the glass in. So from there I did power up the car, plugged in the switch, and lowered the window all the way down. Now this window is going to be really super flimsy while it's sticking up, and this outside, I'm hoping it's just because this outside piece is not on here. So let's get the rest of the car put back together and hope it all turns out to be just the door panel needs to be put back on. Another thing with the new window regulator, the bolt changed from a 13 millimeter to a 12 millimeter. So that's the only major change that I found. Let's get our switch back in. Remember, put this in, the top end in first, and then we'll pressure fit the bottom end in. Make sure you plug it in before you try to put it in. Otherwise, you'll be taking it all back apart. Not so perfect. So whenever I was trying to put the window in, it's off. It's like way too far forward. So I need to take everything back apart in order to get the window in right. It's just too far forward. That's the problem. Sucks. All right, so the easiest way to fix this problem is if you see this gap, this is where the window starts, and this is where it should be at, is at the end of this rubber here. And I'll show you on the other door. So I have this window that far too forward too much. So if you go around to this other side and you look at the window ends right where the rubber pretty much stops at. So that's why that door is not shutting right. So make sure you line that up as you're putting the glass back in so you don't have to take it all back apart like I'm fixing to. All right, hopefully it's still bright enough out here that you can tell. Door is back on, the window's in track and all that good stuff. The problem was I had this window too far forward, and so it was hitting right through here. So I had to push the window back. While I was doing that, I found out that there is a indentation mark right in this area right here. And you can't see it right now because it's too dark out here, but if you look at your Corvette, you'll see that there is an indentation in the rubber right there. If you line your window up with that indentation, then the window will line up properly for the door to open and shut. The good thing about it, it is being darker out here. As you can see, the rearview mirror is now working. So fuse number 2 or fuse number 21, check 21 first. If it's not 21, check number 2, and then that should fix it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode here. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below what you think about the new car. I don't think we're going to mod it too much right now, maybe an exhaust, that kind of stuff, but nothing too crazy like a blower or anything like that yet. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so, and turn on the bell notification so that you get notified when we drop a new video. Until next time, thanks for watching. Be safe.